Here's what happened over the last 5 days at the Department of Justice, at least as I'm recording this. And I want you to follow this sequence carefully because the sequence is the story. The DOJ has been investigating former CIA Director John Brennan. The allegation that Brennan made false statements to Congress in 2023 about his role in the intelligence community's 2017 assessment, the one that concluded Russia interfered in the 2016 election to help Donald Trump. Now, the referral driving that investigation came from Jim Jordan. So, political enemy referred by a political ally, investigated by the President's Justice Department. That's the setup. Now watch what happens as we go along. The lead prosecutor on the case was Maria Medetis Long. That's a career national security prosecutor in the U.S. Attorney's Office in Miami, a career lawyer rather than a political appointee. Someone who'd served across multiple administrations, the kind of credential that's supposed to signal the case rests on law, not loyalty. Now, Medetis Long had expressed doubt about the legal viability of a potential criminal case against Brennan. That was a professional judgment from a career prosecutor. Then she was, of course, removed from the case. That was a professional judgment from a career prosecutor who knows what evidence looks like, and she was removed from the case. But don't worry, her replacement, Joseph diGenova, I don't know, 81 years old, longtime Trump surrogate, Fox News regular, and a member of Trump's 2020 election overturn legal team. Now, as crazy as that sounds, here's the part that matters. diGenova had publicly called Brennan a, and I'm quoting here, real traitor. That's the man now in charge of deciding whether to prosecute Brennan. Acting AG Todd Blanche was asked about the conflict of interest, and Blanche said diGenova didn't have access to grand jury information when he made those comments. Quote, like any prosecutor, I expect that he will follow the facts, unquote. All right, let's sit with that. Now, here's the sequence I need you to track. Over the weekend, subpoenas went out. Witnesses ordered to appear before a grand jury in Washington. Trump administration allies touted it out as a sign of progress on what they called a top political priority for the president. Then, on Monday evening, like a couple days ago when I'm recording this, investigators informed lawyers that those subpoenas were being withdrawn and replaced with requests for voluntary interviews. The reason for the reversal was not immediately known. That's what we know from the AP. And they're saying explicitly themselves, we don't know why. So let's just look at what we do know. The career prosecutor raised doubts about the case's legal viability. She was removed. The replacement had publicly prejudged the defendant as a traitor. He was installed. Subpoenas went out, coercive, court-backed, serious. And then they came back within days, replaced by polite requests. Multiple career prosecutors have privately described the investigation as lacking evidence and being politically motivated to please Trump. And there's one more detail. Among the attorneys now assigned to the case is Christopher James DeLorenz, a former advisor in Todd Blanche's office who previously clerked for Judge Aileen Cannon. So the experienced prosecutor who raised doubts was out. The inexperienced one tied to the president's judicial orbit was in. And diGenova, who'd called the target a traitor on television, was running point. Here's what I'll leave you with. strong cases move forward with confidence. When prosecutors believe they have the evidence, they push. They don't issue grand jury subpoenas on a weekend and pull them back 48 hours later. Either this case has deeper legal and evidentiary problems than the department wants to admit, which is consistent with the doubts that career prosecutor raised before she was removed, or this investigation is being pushed on a political timeline that outran its evidentiary readiness. If it's the first, removing the prosecutor who told you the truth doesn't fix the problem, it gets you a different answer altogether. And if it's the second, well, that is very clearly, obviously, weaponized prosecution.